Hello and welcome to one of our Spark Innovation Periscopes. This is week 3. We're just going to wait for a few people to join us before we properly kick off, but we really look forward to reacting to this week of Spark.
Got some people coming on board now, I hope.
Hopefully. As it slowly loads. Here we go. Brilliant. Already got 7 people on board. Laura's just joined. That's really good. And yeah, so this week's theme has been all about collaboration. So in keeping with that theme, please join in and make sure that you're collaborating with us. So I've just seen that Ian's joined as well. So welcome. Hope you enjoy what we talk about today.
Should we give it a go?
Yeah, I think we're ready to go.
Yeah.
So, hello and welcome, as I've already said, to what is the penultimate Spark Periscope here. We've already done 2, and we're now on to week 3, which is all about collaboration. So we're reacting to our episode, which is all about talking about how collaboration can lead to greater innovation. So joining me, I have, as my co-host today, Mark Anderson. Mark, you're stepping in for Margareta today. You stepped in for me earlier in the campaign.
I know, a poor stand-in, but I will do my best to replace Margareta.
Oh, you'll do an admirable job. And not to belittle you, but our other special guest is our new chief executive, Rachel Fletcher. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Freddie.
Yeah. And so we are live, as you can probably tell. So please bear with us through any sort of little mess ups and everything, most likely my own. But we should just say that this Periscope, what we talk about today, it's not about being prescriptive and telling you what to do. It's not setting expectations. It's just having a discussion. So please try and join in that conversation. We can see any comments you put up on screen. So we'll try and react to those if we have time at the end. But Mark, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, should we kick off by just looking at some of the reactions and some of the comments that we've seen come through this week on Spark and in response to our programme. And I'll begin by looking at the Twitter poll we ran this week, which was thinking about the barriers to organisations collaborating. And I think this week is the first one where we've not really had a clear winner. It's a mixed picture between ways of working or culture, or even power and hierarchy. So it's quite interesting that there's a split there. And Rachel, maybe I can bring you in to get your sense of what any of this tells us, if anything, and also what you think the barriers to collaboration might be.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I mean, I did wonder whether the high scores for power and hierarchy and different ways of working might be getting to the ways that some organisations are set up in silos that are effectively in competition with each other, and how that can get in the way of collaboration unless you really work hard to make it clear that that's what people are there to do, and they're going to be judged on that as well. But thinking as well about collaboration between companies, actually you can see how actually in areas where there's been a lot of fast-moving innovation, actually some of that innovation has been an existential threat to traditional businesses. You know, you think of Uber, Airbnb, that kind of thing. And sometimes that threat and that risk can get in the way of collaboration between companies. I think the last thing I thought of was actually something I've definitely seen is even where you don't have that existential threat challenge, is actually just the time and effort and skill that needs to go in figuring out how 2 companies are going to share the benefits of collaboration can be a barrier to it happening and good things happening from it.
Well, I think moving on from the barriers a little bit to potentially more of the opportunities. We always like to focus on opportunities. We had a comment in this week from Dr. Paul Rutter at Thames, and he pulled out a particular quote of, "We go far by going together." And I guess I was quite interested in hearing, Rachel, what you think about that and the sort of opportunities that you think collaboration can bring.
Yeah, that quote actually really struck a chord with me, and also I think it was something in a way that Mike Barry from M&S picked up on in his piece. If you think about the really big challenges in the water sector, water shortages in areas of high population growth, flooding, pollution, plastics, none of these are things that a regional company by themselves can solve. Arguably, some of these are international challenges, frankly. So I think, the need for that collaboration is really, really strong.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think one of the interesting things in that idea of collaboration is with whom you're collaborating. And Kat Austin in the video from the programme earlier in the week was talking about the importance of really having deep understanding of your customers. And we had a nice build on that on Twitter from the Priestley Centre. I think they're based at the University of Leeds. And they were talking about the importance of really understanding and connecting with customers. And that's really important too, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, at a very basic level, if you're serving customers and you take that seriously, you're going to have to connect with them to understand what they want and what they need. But also, I mean, I think that Kat Austin also talked about people as being engaged citizens, and the opportunity that engaged citizens present in terms of solving challenges like water scarcity are massive. But again, you're only really going to be able to tap in to those opportunities, figure out how to nudge people's behaviour and how they use water, for example, if you understand them.
Yeah.
A really good use of tapped in as well.
Yes.
That bit of work that we did
I like
back
those.
there.
I like those puns. They're great.
But building on that kind of customer point, a big thing that's going to be going on in the future is all around customer data. Well, not just the future, now, I suppose. And I'm quite interested in hearing what do you think about how is data going to be used going forward for the sector?
Well, I think we have to remember that we're in a digital age right now. And, there's not really a future opportunity. It's an opportunity, actually, that we're all benefiting from in lots of walks of our life right now. I think one of the things that really strikes me, actually, if you look at the tech sector and where it's taking us, is, again, how it's really raising customers' expectations of the speed of service that they get, how quickly things get resolved and delivered for them. And I actually think that there's a real challenge there for many other sectors in society and in the economy to catch up with that. A huge amount to be learned as well, I think, about the ways of working in the tech sector. Very collaborative, agile. I was at a hackathon recently, a quackathon, kilowatt hour hackathon, which was focusing on the energy sector challenges, and the solutions that were derived in the space of 8 hours by providing open access to data and getting people together in a collaborative space were just mind-blowing, and something actually I think in Ofwat we can learn from, but lots of other parts of the sector as well. Yeah.
It's really interesting to hear about that kind of work taking place, and also the speed with which ideas can start to take shape, and actually that seamlessly gives us a look ahead to next week and next week's programme, where we're going to be dealing with the theme of Don't Wait, Innovate, trying to build in as many of these kinds of puns as we can. So that's next week's programme on Tuesday, so I hope you can join us for that. And thanks for all your comments and reactions this week and actually throughout the campaign so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And make sure that you're continuing to use #SparkInnovation because, as we've mentioned, there is one more Periscope coming up, isn't there?
There is, yes. So one more programme, one more Periscope. So join us next Friday for the final Periscope. I think we're going to be back to our regular time of 12:30 and regular host as well, with Margaretta returning. We'll have a very special guest for that Periscope too, but also just an addition to that is immediately after the Periscope at 1 o'clock next Friday we're going to be hosting a Twitter hour. So on our Off What Twitter account, please join us, and we'll be talking about everything we've heard and learned, and ideas that have come to us and challenges that have come to us through the course of the campaign, and hopefully having a really interesting discussion with all of you lot. So do hope you can join us for that too.
Yeah, well, I think that's all we have time for. And the main thing, well, first I'm going to thank to my right, Mark. Thank you for ably standing in once again. And also thank you to Rachel for giving some really fascinating thoughts that I think hopefully people will react to online.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
So thank you very much, and hope to see you next week.
Thanks. Bye-bye.